Hi, welcome everyone to Coleman Report Live, May 4th edition, the 504 day, Chris. People used to celebrate that when the world didn't go crazy. Today we have guest host Chris Hearn. Thank you so much for being here. Bob is still driving down Route 66 somewhere in the desert. So Katie, welcome as well. I heard we had some huge news break last night, and we're trying to get a sense of the clarity. Chris is here to answer some of the very important questions today. So welcome everyone. Chris, right off the bat, what's going on? What happened last night? Just give us a quick update of what lenders should be worried about coming up.
Yeah. Well, so I guess yesterday afternoon, about 3 o'clock Eastern, trade associations, NAGL, the National Association of Government Guaranteed Lenders, sent out about a one, maybe two sentence email that said there was rumors in Washington that only 1.6 billion of PPP funds remain. Well, as you can imagine, that set off, just all sorts of alarm bells all over the industry. And about 3 hours later, they actually sent out another email that explained how they got to that number. Now, I'm not entirely convinced I agree with how they got to that number. I think there's some assumptions there. I've spoken to some high-level people at SBA. No one will go on record confirming or denying that PPP is getting close to being exhausted, or if it's being close to getting exhausted. Most of the SBA officials I've spoken to are acting as if things are business as usual. We've got weeks left in this. If anybody did the math from the data dump yesterday morning, it looked to me like there was about $33.5 billion left. But I guess that's one of the contentions that NAGL has, which is in their calculations, there's about $10 billion set aside for community financial institutions, CFIs. My calculation is we've already well gone past those set asides at this point. So just looking at some of the numbers and some of the larger players that are CFIs, so I'm not really sure I buy the math just yet, but I guess we'll find out soon enough. In the meantime, there was a lot of people that were, slamming in approvals, or approving loans to submit to SBA until late last night, and I don't know if that was necessary or not, but I guess we'll find out soon enough.
Well, yeah, we've heard the pipelines are. A lot of people had that estimation of another couple of weeks at least. So those pipelines are. It's a tumultuous time. Let's ask the poll question: Are you still planning on doing PPP loans? Yes or no? Just simple. And majority, yeah, it's a huge response. Yes, 83% yes, 14% no. I think this is too new to even have processed yet. In fact, a lot of us in the West Coast didn't even hear about it until about an hour ago. So let's do another poll. What percentage of PPP funds remain? Let's ask the audience and see what the lenders on the line are saying. And Katie, I think you have a stat, but again, that's up for discussion. So.
Yeah, I think my calculations are probably pretty similar to Chris's. When I did this earlier today, it does seem like he has about the same numbers I do.
And a third say 1 to 3%, and a third say 4 to 5%. So what's the stat that you came up with?
Yeah, so they're probably about right. It is, at least the stat I came up with, it was about 4%. Just a tiny bit over that. So it's probably somewhere in that range. I'm not surprised that people are saying lower, and it is possible that we've done more lending than that, but based on my calculations, we're around 4%.
And just another quick one, and we'll cover this at the end, and we'll get back to the numbers. Delinquencies have fallen to the lowest since the pandemic began. What do you think, Chris?
I think that's a true statement.
Absolutely. Yeah. So Katie did a great report this morning on delinquencies and the payment stats. But let's get back to the numbers, PPP funds remaining. Katie, you want to go over this slide, and then we'll analyze it in a little bit with Chris?
Yeah, so these are the numbers that NAGL and I believe also ICBA and some of the other people are throwing around as what they estimate is left. And it is, like Chris said, quite a bit lower than we're calculating. So it could be we have the numbers wrong. It could be they have the numbers wrong. but this is what they're currently reporting. And as you can see, they're saying about 1.6 billion in the general fund that's going to be available for general lenders to be able to lend, with an additional 7 billion reserved for loans with hold codes and 9.9 billion set aside for community financial institutions.
I just did the math, and if my 33.5 million is correct, if I subtract all that stuff, that still leaves 15 billion.
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, I guess we're going to find out.
Yeah. So Katie, this is the graph that you found, and then we also have the numbers released on May 2nd. But go ahead and talk about this.
Yeah. So this is my math, just taking the funding capacity that I'm assuming is the full capacity. There is a little bit of question there. The net dollars approved, and what it appears to be is there's about 33 billion, a little more than, left remaining as of yesterday, which gives us about 4% of the total funding that was available left over. Of course, we are doing what would be about 10 billion a week. I think that slowly started to go down and isn't quite as high anymore. But that, given this was pretty recent, I don't think we've exhausted $15 billion in one day. That's certainly not standard. So that does leave some funding available that we're not really sure where that is currently.
Richard asked, Chris, you might know the answer. Do the numbers include the lender fees?
We have finally gotten confirmation that, yeah, these figures include the PPP processing fee to the lenders. So that is a figure that you got to back out of here as well. But again, to Katie's point, even if you do that, I'm still not sure you get down to 1.6 billion is all that's left.
Yeah. Well, this is what SBA released, I think on Sunday, correct, Katie? Total loans approved 10.7 billion for 780. That's all approved lending, and then the 2021 numbers as well. And this chart seems to go with the case of around 9 to 8 to 10 billion a week that we were going at towards the exhaustion of the program. But what is this? Is this summary correct in your analysis, Katie?
Yeah, this is basically what I've been using to estimate, and I'm assuming the SBA is up to date on all this. Of course, there is the possibility that they're a little behind. They haven't broken it down quite as much as maybe the lending community would like to see, and that could create some confusion, but this is what I'm basing it off of. This comes out about usually every Sunday. Sometimes it comes out early Monday, but the data is I'm assuming accurate.
Chris, what are you recommending other lenders do? Just keep on accepting applications, or hold tight for the next 48 hours until we get an answer, or what do you recommend the lenders do?
Well, I mean, it depends on how active they want to be. I mean, my presumption would be if the poll statistics are correct in terms of the, so many, 83% are going to continue to accept PPP loans, then you should continue to operate as business as usual and do your processing and submit your loans and see what happens. Worst case scenario, maybe you waste a little bit of time and SBA puts a hard stop on submissions perhaps. I'm not really sure how that's going to work this time around either. I don't think anybody does. So we're just pretending as if things are normal, and we're just continuing along. And the one correction I would suggest, this past data set versus the week before, they were at like 10 to 11 billion a week in terms of approvals, and this last week it dropped down to about 7.3 based on the math. So I do think it's slowing down a bit, but who knows? We've never felt like the data is as accurate as we want to be, certainly.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is just a loan breakdown.
Post maybe the data will be a little bit more accurate.
Yeah, and this is the chart. You made the top 15 list. Congratulations, Crown Head. And we'll see how many of these lender breakdown lists are included in the next month or so. So,
number 13. Yeah.
Yeah. Katie, give us an update on the the default, the delinquency stats. This was great. This is a great chart from Equifax, from PayNet, and our friend Bill Phelan. So go ahead and give a quick update.
Yeah, so this is going to be on regular 7A and 504 loans. And this data comes out about every month. It's going to be a month behind because they're looking at previous months. So this is looking at February. It came in at the end of April. So this just came out. It's talking about how we're recovering. This particular graph here is looking at just pure activity and the amount of small business lending activity. What they're saying here is that small lending activity has reached a pandemic era high, and it's actually now 2% higher than last year's February reading. So we are kind of recovering. As you can see, if you look slightly beyond that breakout they've got, it was down a little bit right before the pandemic as well. So we can't necessarily say we're quite back to the normal pattern, but we're certainly back to where we were right before the pandemic hit. Some other things that broke out, they were talking about the activity, where it declined in, where it increased in. It declined in New York, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. Activity is up in North Carolina, Illinois, and Florida. It's improved in areas such as construction and public administration, but declined slightly in accommodation, information, and professional services. As far as delinquencies go, loans that are 31 to 90 days delinquent are still up 6 basis points year over year. So that is still slightly above where we would like to see it. 91 to 180 days is up 21 basis points, which is significantly higher than we'd like to see. But it is still definitely better than we expected, and it's definitely getting back to where we would want to see it. Defaults, however, they are improving, and it's back down, I believe, about 5% in February, but 91 basis points year over year, so that is a concern.
Excellent stuff. Chris, we have a question for you. Is there any update on the guidance SBA needs to complete before the full implementation of the Economic Aid Act that was passed by Congress? The last information they're saying was released 90 days ago. Is there anything pending that SBA needs to do?
I mean, I know Katie's been on track, keeping track of this stuff. I think the only thing that I'm aware of at the moment, sort of big picture, is I still don't think we have all the regs on the 504 refinance piece. Mm-hmm. I think we've been waiting for that for quite some time. Most everything else, I think, is just esoteric little things here and there. You know, like how are we gonna handle a post-closing PPP loan that goes into bankruptcy, for instance? So that's one of those specific things that we know that you can't be in bankruptcy in order to be approved for a PPP loan. That was clarified 6 weeks ago or whatever it was. But we don't know how we as the lending community move forward, knowing that a borrower's in bankruptcy, after they got their PPP loan, for instance. But there's just little things like that we're still waiting on. Yeah.
Are you helping your restaurant borrowers with the fund that opened up yesterday?
I'm certainly encouraging them to look into it, but I mean that's going to be administered directly by SBA, just like the sugar. Okay. So there's not much for us to do really on that. A cheerleader and suggest that they look into it. Probably want to hurry because I don't know how long those funds are going to last either. And I think it's going a little bit better, the rollout for the restaurant fund than the shutter venue, clearly. I don't know, maybe that's a function of the industries perhaps. Maybe SBA learned a little bit from the shutter venue rollout. So it seems to be going okay at the moment. Yeah.
Well, excellent. We will look for more information, and we'll try to track down the source of this controversy. And are you coming back tomorrow, Chris? Or are you? I'm
supposed to be. I think I'm on the calendar.
Well, we will look forward to that. We have a webinar coming up in, sorry about this. There we go. We have a webinar coming up in 45 minutes on the equity injection. Lance has put together a great show for you guys. So give me a last minute call if you want to join in on that. be happy to get you on the call. Chris, always welcome. We'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Katie as well. And this concludes today's webinar. Have a good day, everyone.
All right, take care.